Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at something a little bit on the special side because nothing has ever been released that's quite like this right here. This of course is the Master Grade Gundam F90. And you may be looking at this wondering, well, what's so special about this? That box looks pretty normal, and oddly enough, this right here is a premium Bandai kit, even though the box doesn't look like it. And this is the first ever built from the ground up premium Bandai kit. That means nothing in this box is reused whatsoever. This thing right here is unique. Of course, when it comes to unique gunpla, rare gunpla, Gundam-based gunpla, etc., I would not be able to do this review right here if it wasn't for those absolutely fantastic people over at buyee. So if you do want one of your own, there's a link in the description where I got mine through buyee. And speaking of which, if you do want one of these, well, thanks to buyee, I'm giving one of them away. So once again, if you want to be in for this giveaway, all the information is down there in the description. Check that out. But anyway, on to the review. So anyway, that right there is what the model kit looks like out of the box, snapped together with minimal effort, a little bit of panel lining, and not much else. There is a whole lot of interesting aspects to mention about this kit right here, but before I get into that, I will talk a little bit about Gundam F90 itself, just in case you don't know about it. Because, yeah, honestly, I had no idea myself. So anyway, as you can probably guess from the name Gundam F90, it is a precursor to Gundam F91. This right here isn't an anime movie, anything like that, it was just a manga. Essentially a setup for Gundam F91. And just like the F90 manga is a precursor to the anime movie Gundam F91, this robot right here, the Gundam F90, which to me looks like a very small Gundam Alex. I mean, it really does look like the Gundam Alex, just smaller. And, of course, it is small. But anyway, like I was saying, as it suggests with the name Gundam F90, this is the bot that is the precursor to the Gundam F91. There they are side by side, and as kits, these are not similar at all in the tiniest sense whatsoever. They're so different. The one major aspect, of course, that it has in common with the Gundam F91 is the fact that it's so small. These, of course, weren't built by Anaheim Electronics like all the awesome Gundams of the past. And by the past, I mean of the earlier days of the Universal Century timeline. Basically, these were built by the SNRI, and they made them, well, small. But anyway, that is enough about the Gundam F90 manga, etc., background, all of that stuff. Let's move on to the gunpla itself. The first thing I'll mention about this kit right here is it uses a lot of ABS plastic, especially in the inner frame, which means this thing is bulletproof. Absolutely bulletproof. This thing is the most solid Master Grade I've ever laid my hands on. Look at it. I can shake the hell out of this, and it will not move a millimeter at all. This thing is nuts. Apparently it's also gay, but yeah, I'm confused too, never mind. So like I said already, this is what the kit looks like out of the box, just snapped together, and it looks so much better than I thought it would. And there's one thing that really stands out to me. So there's one aspect about this kit that may not translate in the video, but I'm going to try my hardest, and that is the plastic used on this is not your standard gunpla plastic at all. According to the manual, the plastic in this is polystyrene, but it looks and feels a little bit like it's kind of towards ABS in a way. That is a very hard thing to explain and probably impossible to translate into video, but it feels so different. Kind of, I guess, almost like something you'd see in a Kotobukiya kit. This doesn't really mean a whole lot besides the fact that this kit does feel absolutely and utterly bulletproof, and on top of that, the knobs are a little bit more difficult to deal with, so they don't really leave too many marks per se. The blue does mark a little bit, but it's more of a case that it's a little bit spongier, if you get what I mean, than standard gunpla plastic. So it means when you nip it, it tends to leave a little bit behind, and it's a little bit on the hard side to file. But besides that, it looks good, feels good, and is a completely overall different gunpla experience. Besides all of that, this thing looks absolutely killer out of the box. I've done some panel lining here and there, but there isn't a whole lot of places to panel line on this particular kit. A lot of these old school, just like tiny little marks that you can fill in, but besides that, not a whole lot. As for stickers, all I used was the ones for the eyes as well as on the head cameras. We do have a few other color correcting stickers on here, mainly for those tiny little triangles, like you can see right there. What they should look like, of course, is those little red sections there. Of course, as usual, you're better off painting than sticking on stickers, because, well, more than likely they'll fall off. And the biggest ones, of course, are these little guys down here in black and red, which are number 4 here on the sticker sheet, but bye-bye to that. However, we do get a sheet of Waterslide Transfers in here, which do feature all of those little triangles as well, so you do have the option of water slides, which is much better. Besides that, in general, these are quite plain, just your small little information decals, caution, etc. And the largest one would be the 90 here for on the shield, and the F90 here. There is no suggested use for this, but you could probably use it up on the shoulders like we did with the Gundam F91. And speaking of the F91, there is a side-by-side comparison. It is also worth noting that this kit does have some of those old school wires with varnish tube over them in its build, as well as that kind of lavender inner frame, both of which are a bit of a throwback to the Master Grade Gundam Mark II. So now moving on to the accessories, and there's the Master Grade Gundam F90 with everything that it comes with. So this right here is the classic standard Gundam loadout of sword, board, and beam rifle. Basically that means, in here we've got a pair of beam sabers, this time in blue, we have that shield in matching colors to the mobile suit, a beam rifle, as well as some extra E-caps, base adapter, and 3 pairs of swappable fingers, that's these 2, and the pair of fists it's been equipped with for the whole review so far. So some of you eagle-eyed watchers may have noticed that this thing comes with no pilot figure. Well, that's pretty weird. So as for the hands in here, once again, I'll mention these are the swappable finger types, and hooray! These have been kept compatible with the Gundam F91 back here. So besides the obvious difference of the color, these are absolutely identical. So of course that does mean that the Gundam F90 is 100% compatible with the Gundam F91's weapons. And that is awesome. These hands are pretty simple, you just pop them out like so, grab the one that you want, and just pop it in. Simple as. So as for this kit's weapons, first off we've got the beam rifle. This is all in the one color, so it does look a little bit on the plain side, but then again, it does resemble a more basic version of that of the Gundam F91, so I guess that makes sense. This thing right here has a movable handle up front, which is pretty usual. It has a sticker there for the lens, and this has a removable E-cap round back right here. So we do get 4 of these little guys right here. We will be coming back to those a little bit later. So when the beam rifle is not in use, you just open up the butt claw back here. And yeah, I said butt claw, it's got a butt claw. Awesome. Anyway, just fold down this handle and that should slot in here. Something like that right there. Pretty awesome. As for the beam sabers, this is about as basic as beam sabers come, just blue beams in standard handles. They don't really do anything. Right there is what they will look like attached. It's not the most securest grip, but at the same time, it's not the loosest. They're not really going to go anywhere on you, but, you know, they're just kinda in there. I guess that makes them pretty easy to remove. Of course, when these are not in use, just remove those beams, and they pop onto the backpack here in that old school Gundam way. These fit on quite tight, and won't be going anywhere. Next up in here then is the shield, once again in matching colors to the mobile suit itself. Round back, it's a very simple design, just this moving handle here, this peg for attaching it. And remember those E-caps I mentioned earlier on? Those can be stored on the inside in these peg holes right here. So like that, and like that, right there. This attaches on the standard way, it just pops into the little hole on the back of the arm like so. A pretty secure attachment, even more so if you pop this into the hand. But even without popping it into the hand, it holds on quite well. So essentially, besides one E-cap, this can store all of its loadout on its body. And you might be thinking, this guy doesn't come with a whole lot, does he? Well, not yet it doesn't. This kit has already taken P-Bandai to a completely different level by being built from the ground up for P-Bandai, so of course, they're not going to stop at that, are they? This right here is Mission Pack E-Type and S-Type. And literally, there's going to be one of these types for every letter of the alphabet from A to Z. So that means probably about 13 of these bad boys right here. All P-Bandai. But anyway, that right there will be a review for another day. So now moving on to the articulation, and as usual, from that head down. So in here we do have a minor giggity. It is a bit on the weak side. There's the head looking all the way up, looking all the way down. Once again, a little bit weak. There's this side to side tilt, and that can rotate all the way around. I did mention this already, but just to reiterate it, this thing is as solid as a rock. This doesn't budge an inch, not even a millimeter, nothing. Look at that, you can shake the hell out of this thing and it does not move. At the shoulder, we've got a pretty standard forward and back in there. The shoulder armor can move up and down independent to the arm. There is the arm all the way up. Full 360 rotation right there. Full rotation here at the upper arm. We've got a second bit of rotation down here, just like with Gundam F91. Actually, speaking of Gundam F91, Bandai are saying this was designed from the ground up as premium Bandai only, but that is the exact same joint inside of there. Actually, I'm pretty sure up inside the shoulder it's the same joint as well. So it seems it's not entirely designed from the ground up, exclusively for P-Bandai. But anyway, there is the bend at the elbow, it's okay. Also, I will mention one of the features of this kit is that it has a whole bunch of hard points hidden away, like up here in the shoulder, around here, on the back of the arm, but I'll save all that for the mission pack review, because that is where the mission packs attach. As per usual with a Master Grade, we have a fully opening cockpit, and there is a 1/100 figure deep down inside of that you may not be able to see. I'll try and get some footage of it so you can see it, but there is a figure inside of it, just no regular standing 1/100 scale figure, for whatever reason. As for the ab crunch, the front and the back, it is very, very nice. Not so much side to side, it is okay. We do have a very similar-ish attachment in here that we saw on the Gundam F91, and speaking of which, it is different. It's not exactly the same, but that does mean, hey, look at that! Gundam F91 on top, put your hat on, right? Gundam F90 down bottom. Around back at the backpack now, these little segments can move in and out like so with the beam sabers. As for the verniers, these are on an interesting type of ball joint, so they can move all the way around like so. Nice and movable right there. Another hard point underneath this right here, as you can see. Down to the waist section here on this, and this is where this thing's design really starts to shine. So these are just your standard ball joints, so at first glance they're not all that interesting, but this whole crotch segment can drop down and pull out just like this right here. So that means you can get more out of those then. They can move up quite a lot. As for the side skirts, they're a bit on the disappointing side. These can move up and down ever so slightly. They do get blocked by the body. So if you pull the body up like this, you can get more out of them, but that doesn't make much sense. They can rotate back and forward, but everything kind of gets in the way of that, so you don't get all that you'd want. And the butt flap is just solitary. Doesn't move at all. And I don't mean solitary, I mean stationary. Lonely butt flap. On top of the crotch drop action, I'll just pop off a leg so you can see in here. This whole little section in here can pull up and forward, which is pretty cool. So this gets more articulation out of the legs, more motion for crouches, bent forward poses, etc. This is a pretty cool design. As for the legs then, there's the kick all the way up to the front, so about parallel to the ground, out to the back, and it's very, very blocked. And as for out to the sides, you're not going to get a whole lot because of these guys. If you do pull them up, you end up moving the torso up like this, which doesn't look that great. Your other option is to kind of loosen these out a bit so you can spin them back like so, and then you can definitely get more of the splits. Actually, you can get the full split, so I guess that's not so bad. Just gotta fiddle with these guys a little bit. So just for the sake of comparison, there is a kick all the way out to the front with the waist section in the standard position, and right there is what it's like with that waist section kicked up to the front. So it definitely does open up a bit more of a front kick. And just to try it to the back as well, there is it kicked out to the front and the back with the waist at the drop down forward position, and there is what it's like in the standard position. So this does open up a lot more, quite a bit more kick to the front as well as to the back. So it definitely does do something. And just for the sake of checking it out, there is the splits with it drop down to the front. So all in all, pretty awesome. So next up in here then, there is the knee bend. Definitely not bad at all. There is no mechanical moving parts in here. Nothing moves the knees or the upper thigh arm or anything like that. It's just a standard basic knee bend. At the ankle, we have 2 points of articulation. There is the top one moving forward and back. That is very nicely designed. That particular joint does not have any side-to-side movement. And as for the joint here, this is just the side-to-side pivot. So that's not so bad. Let's check it out on the ground. So before checking out this thing's functional movement on the ground, I will mention that this has no toe bend whatsoever. Nothing up, nothing down. So quite basic for a Master Grade right there. But anyway, there it is all the way to the front, so it's okay. There it is all the way to the back, so not bad. That's as far as you'll get it with the foot still planted on the ground. And as for the side to side, it's there, quite good, all the way over to there. So all in all, this is pretty average. So all in all, the articulation on the Master Grade Gundam F90 is pretty good. It's not fantastic by any means, but it will pull off pretty much any pose that you'll want it to. So that right there is it for the review, and this was one interesting kit. The Master Grade Gundam F90 was the first ever kit built from the ground up from Premium Bandai, and it feels so different. This is a completely different building experience right here. It feels completely different. All in all, if I give the Gundam F91 silver tier, this right here, without a doubt, is gold tier. Definitely this kit was hard to rank. It comes in at about 4,400 yen, that is the retail price for this kit right here. The Gundam F91 was 4,000 yen and came with a lot more in the box, but this right here feels like a more premium kit. The plastic is different, it's solid as a rock, and everything fits together perfectly, and it is just brilliant, whereas the F91 is a bit on the flimsy side. This kit isn't trying to squeeze in any kind of weird gimmicks that it doesn't have to. It's solid, perfect, and awesome. So honestly, I do believe in a video it's really hard to describe this kit right here. it feels so much different. There's no way for me to tell you what this is exactly like without, well, essentially just handing it to you and you just feeling how different it feels. I would almost describe it as if a different company made Gunpla. And this particular company was awesome at making Gundams, just kinda made them in a little bit of a different way. Focusing more on strength, stability, and the aesthetics. Less than squeezing in some gimmicks like LEDs and other things that don't really make all that much of a difference in the end. Basically, to sum it up, it's a basic Gundam kit done a premium way. And of course, if you do want one of your own to check out this completely different, odd kind of build, then you've got two options. You can run over to buyee right now, buy one of your own, links in the description, or you can enter our giveaway, which is also down there in the description, and you can win one of your own. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Consider leaving a like, it really does help out with my videos. And as always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews. See you next time. So once again, I cannot end this video right here without thanking everyone who helps out with the channel, whether by watching the videos, hitting that like button, or by supporting me on my channel memberships like NQG420 and Craig Jerry, or over on Patreon like Kaiser721, Forged Horizons, Vex, Bullwig, and Tyler Sanders.